All right, everybody, this is our vegetable prep. So I've got my pot of boiling water right there. I do need to add some salt to it, and that's for blanching my vegetables. So add some salt, give it a stir, and then give it a taste to ensure that, again, it's got a little bit of saltiness to the water. Now, you're going to get a carrot, okay? And I have peeled the carrot already, and I just cut the two ends from the carrots. And then you're going to get some green beans, or what's known in France as haricots verts. I have noticed that most of the green beans are trimmed, but they do need to be cleaned up a little bit. This one end right here. One end has like a little pigtail to it, okay? That can stay. The other end, though, is the part that attached to the plant. And that has to go because it's discolored. So we want to take and trim those. All that I'm doing is I'm just kind of taking the green beans, making sure that they're all facing the same direction, putting them down on my board. Okay, making sure all the little ends line up, and then just trimming off just a little bit, okay, as you can see, just a little bit. And go back through, do the same thing. Now I did notice that with some of the beans, they're not entirely cleaned. This is the end that attached to the plant. So you got to make sure that that gets removed as well. So I've noticed just a few are that way. Most of them all have been cleaned. Okay. So we'll continue with our beans and our vegetable prep. If you come across a bad bean, discard it. I had a couple that didn't look so hot. So I discarded them. And I'm just going through and trimming them up. I trimmed up a few already just to kind of save us a little time. But just like that. And the last few that I've got here. Okay, like this. This is a bad bean. I don't know what happened to it, so I'm just going to go ahead and discard it. Make sure all my little ends line up. Now again, initially, or admittedly, I can do a few more, you know. I'm good at this. So if you feel, you know, you can only do, you know, a few at a time, that's okay. All right, so I have my beans. Now the next thing I want to do is cut my carrots. And I want to cut my carrots about the same as I cut, or the beans. So about every, a little less than 1/4 of an inch actually. Because those beans are not quite 1/4 of an inch. So I'm just kind of cutting the carrot about the same thickness as I can see those beans are, okay? So about the same thickness. And then I'm just going to go in the same opposite direction now and cut the carrots. So again, they're about the same as the beans because we're going to blanch them. And we want the carrots and the green beans to cook evenly. There we go. There we go. So again, just like that, okay? Now I do want to taste my water to make sure that it has a little salt. That's good. Okay, so I'm going to throw my carrots in first because they're a little harder than the green beans. So my carrots are going to go in the water first, just like that. I want to get my colander for my sink. Okay, it's like that. Make sure I have a couple towels. All right. Good. Get my spoon. Well, I don't think I need a spoon. I think actually those around. I want that water to come up to a boil. Okay, so it's been, I don't know, a couple minutes. The camera right there. So it's been about 2 minutes. It's come back to the boil, and now that it's come back to the boil, I'm going to throw in my green beans. Just like that. And I'm just going to kind of stir those around. Okay. All right, so clean up just a second. There we go. And I'm waiting for the green beans to turn kind of a darker green color. Okay, I can kind of see that they're getting there a little bit in spots, but they still kind of have that frosty green appearance. And then I have my colander over in my sink. And I'm just going to shock them after they are done. So I'm really just kind of waiting for this to show a little sign of coming back to a boil. Because remember, in the blanching process, we're not cooking the vegetables completely. We're only cooking them partially. Okay, so that carrot is done. And that green bean is done. Okay. So, off camera, I'm just going to pour the vegetables into my colander and then refresh with some cold water. And refresh is again just the term we use to cool down the hot vegetables. We don't want them piping hot. So I've just taken them, put it in my colander, got a little cold water. And I'm just filling up a little bowl with the vegetables. So just a little bit of cold running water on the vegetables, and I'm going to pour this cold water out and keep them in my colander. And that is our vegetable medley. I'm just going to put these in the refrigerator to let the water drain off of them, and then I'll transfer them into a bowl for storage until we are ready to saute them in our final step. All right. Place that in the refrigerator. Good. Okay. Let's go ahead and get rid of our pot. And I'm going to reposition my camera. I have a little bit of bacon that I want to chop up. Okay, so I've got this bacon right here. Unfold it. Cut it in half. Okay, and then cut about every 1/4 inch into just little pieces like this. Now I know that bacon shrinks when it cooks, so even though it may look like a big piece of bacon, when it cooks, it is going to shrink down. during the rendering process. So I've got that right there. My bacon, okay. And I think maybe a little garlic as well too. So I'll mince just a little bit of garlic. And we'll add a little bit of sauteed garlic and possibly some onions as well. So just a little bit for me. You guys know how I feel about my garlic. You guys add as much or as little as you like. All right, so got that. Okay. So again, we're getting all of our mise en place done. And I'm just going to set that in the refrigerator as well. Okay, now the potatoes. The potatoes have been in for, a good 40 minutes, I'd say. So let's go ahead and let's take them out, take a look. Whew, they are hot. All right, so as you can see, that's why I have you covering the top, or excuse me, lining the sheet tray with parchment. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of cream is left over. I'm going to check with a knife. Nope, not quite. Not getting soft in the center. So they're going to go back in, just kind of pushing it down a little bit. Okay. There we go. And I'm going to go ahead and put this back in the oven, uncovered, and I just want to keep a close eye on it. Because I want the top to brown, but I don't want the top to burn. So if I have to, I'll take this piece of aluminum foil and I can place it back over the top just to kind of protect it from getting burnt. Okay, so our potatoes are about halfway. Our vegetables have been cut and blanched. Our garlic for our vegetables has been minced. Our bacon for our vegetables have been minced. It seems that I am out of an onion because I was going to slice an onion and add a little bit of onion to the green beans. But I don't know what happened to my onion. I thought I had one. But apparently I don't. So we're going to move on to the next step. And the next step is going to be getting the chicken prepared and ready. So I'm going to get some dishes done, kind of get myself organized, and then when we come back, we will do the chicken cordon bleu and do the standard breading procedure as well. And this one is a little time consuming and a little messy, but we will work through that. So that is our next step.